Olympics in full swing, and my God, I was just an absolute mess last night. I'd only had one glass of Whispering Angel, and then I watched Andy Murray starting to fill up and well up with tears, and I was like, oh, I'm gone. I'm absolutely gone. Watching it for us for talkSPORT was our commentator Joe Shennan, taking in Andy Murray's final moments. Joe, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. Well, it was an honour to commentate on a match like that for a British sports person like that. I think Andy Murray is one of our all-time greats. I think he certainly leads the way in terms of impacts on British tennis. I think in the country, his impact probably transcends tennis. He's a household name, and I think he's one of, if not one of our great sports people of all time. So it's always an honour to commentate on any Andy Murray match. Obviously, it was a shame that he and Dan Evans couldn't produce further heroics, and we've seen plenty of that from them over the course of the Olympics. But look, I think whatever the finale for Andy Murray, whether he'd won a gold medal or what we saw last night, I think what we will see is a celebration of a magnificent career, one of the greats.
Joe, you know, when we look back over his career, if you try and find the jewel in the crown of the Murray story, would it be when he defeated Djokovic in that 2013 Wimbledon final?
I think so, Rory. I think so, yeah, because it had been such a long wait. And Wimbledon, up until that point, really, since the days of Fred Perry, had kind of been synonymous with heroic failure for a lot of British tennis players. That's not to say that, you know, there weren't some considerable achievements in that time. You know, we had some terrific players to watch in the interim. Tim Henman in particular, of course. Virginia Wade won Wimbledon back in the 1970s, and we shouldn't forget that. But I think in terms of waiting for a men's singles Wimbledon champion, it had been a heck of a long wait. Andy Murray broke that glass ceiling. And I think if you were to ask any British tennis fan, or actually a lot of people who don't necessarily watch the sport all year round, but watch Wimbledon maybe for a couple of weeks a year, I think that was the moment they'd have pinpointed as the moment that, you know, they will remember most of all from his career. That and probably Olympic gold in 2012.
Yeah, 19 years of brilliance he's had in the sport. Joe, stay with us, but these were the final interviews we will hear from Andy Murray. He spoke to our reporter, Joanne Kerr, last night.
Andy, it's been absolutely captivating watching this run in particular, entertaining right until the end. First of all, the Olympics obviously means so much to you. How proud are you of the way you've dug deep in those final moments of your career?
Yeah, I'm really proud. You know, I didn't, you know, a few weeks ago when I had to have the operation on my back, it was, well, I didn't know if I was going to be able to play here at all. So the fact that, you know, we got in a position to, you know, have this run was brilliant. You know, Dan played really, really well, you know, particularly in the first two matches. You know, today was, you know, definitely not our best performance, but yeah, I'm proud of the run that we had. We created some great moments, great memories, amazing comebacks, and even today, even though, you know, we were well behind and weren't playing well, we still fought right until the end and nearly managed to turn it around, and I'm proud of that.
What you've gone through in your entire life, from a little boy, from what tennis has given you, what you've given to the sport, playing alongside your brother, 2 Olympic golds, 3 Grand Slams, can you put into words what it all means?
Right now, I mean, that's difficult for me. I'm happy that it's the end of my career now. I genuinely didn't want to play much longer. You know, a few months ago, I did feel slightly differently. I was unsure of what things were going to look like next, but I'm happy about it now. Physically, I'm not able to play and do the things that I want to be able to do, or that would allow me to play, you know, high-level tennis anymore. So yeah, I'm ready to finish. I'm proud of the results and the career that I've had, you know, and what's been, you know, it's been a really difficult time to win major events with the players that have been around. And yeah, obviously, there's things I wish I could have done more. You know, I look back at some decisions that I made during my career and wish I'd done some things differently. But on the whole, like, yeah, I gave it a really good go. And yeah, almost got the most out of myself. And yeah, it's been a good journey.
He gave it everything, did Andy Murray. And by the way, credit to Dan Evans. He kind of sometimes goes under the radar, but he was outstanding in this competition. Joe Shennan, what do you think's next for Andy? When will we see him again?
Well, look, I think he'll have a bit of a break, first and foremost. I think he deserves it, having been on the circuit for near enough 20 years with no interruption. I'm hopeful that we'll see Andy maybe in a few invitational events. We may well see him playing the invitational doubles, perhaps, at Wimbledon next year. Who knows? I'd love to see him do a bit of punditry. I think one of the things that Andy was maybe misjudged for early on in his career is the fact that he does have a great sense of humour. He's a very funny guy. He's a very personable guy, very modest, as you heard there. I mean, that interview, in some senses, sounded like, he was responding to questions after a routine match. He's a really self-effacing kind of guy. And he knows the sport, obviously, inside out. So I think it'd be great to see him go and do some punditry, see what happens next as far as that's concerned. But he'll undoubtedly continue to be a great ambassador for British sport. As I say, I think his impact in this country extends beyond even tennis. Andy Murray's a household name. He's a great personality to have around. And so I think this is a guy that, we may not see him on the tennis court at a professional level, unfortunately, any longer. But, his impact is going to go on for far longer than that. And I'm sure there's still plenty of things that he can do to contribute, not just in tennis, but to kind of the wider British sporting calendar.
Looking forward to it. Joe Shennan, our commentator here at talkSPORT, thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy the rest of the Paris Games today. Just a little ode to Andy. I think being a Scots person, growing up in Glasgow, you hear this voice starting to come on in sport and thinking, my goodness, he sounds like a dry Scotsman, doesn't he? And I was so young at the time, and then you watch him grow and blossom, always show his emotions, always speak well, always carry himself, always compete, always be there and thereabouts. World number one for 41 weeks.
In an age of giants. To become world number one is impressive at any point. But to become world number one when you have those giants around the game is just so remarkable.
Just shows how good he is, but also as a guy as well, as a good guy. Somebody now is just going to focus solely on his children, but he's never faltered. There's never been a bad word about him. He's everybody's favourite tennis player sometimes in this country. He's been one of the best. And actually yesterday when I saw Claire Baldwin crying, saying her goodbyes to him, to the telly, I knew it was okay that I was an absolute blubbering mess. But he will be missed, and hopefully we hear him back in commentary very, very soon. That's what we all want, actually.